Hi everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I want to talk to you today about the review of the Sinclair patterns Bianca Bolero, which is what I'm wearing here. When I made my Valentine's dress and reviewed it in my previous video, I also had on this Bolero jacket, and I really liked it. I made it out of a fabric that was not recommended by the pattern. So the pattern called for a knit, and I used a non-itchy wool that was in my stash probably for about 15 years, and I had barely enough fabric to squeak out this jacket right here. And why did this happen? Probably because about 15 years ago when I went to New York City to buy this fabric, I probably bought about 2 or 3 yards, and then I took everything home and washed and dried it. And I know I did not know the fabric content of this. I did not do a burn test to determine what it was, so it just kind of shrunk to nothing. And I've been meaning to use this, but it's really hard when you have a very limited amount of fabric to make something like this, but this fit the bill. Even with that, if you look right here at how I laid it out, it looks like I have open spaces, but I did not. I had to flip some pattern pieces around, and I did end up cutting the inner front facing slightly off grain to get this to be a go. I was not going to waste this fabric. But ultimately, as you can see here, I got it to work with some caveat. So first thing, I had to create a center back seam out of necessity because I did not have enough fabric. So right here, you're going to see that center back seam. Because the fabric does not have drape, it's not a knit and it's not very drapey, it's more stiff and structured, you're going to see that there are, like, you get folds of fabric here, folds of fabric, you know, on both sides. That's normal given the style and not using the type of fabric that was recommended, but that's okay. I knew that was going to happen. My biggest issue with this jacket, with this structured fabric, again, this is not a problem with the pattern, it's a problem with the fabric that I used, is when I had this with my bodycon dress. The bodycon dress was molded to my figure, but this right here was bellowing out and it just looked ridiculous. So I took that center back seam and I seam ripped this horizontal seam, but I took in that center back seam in the back. I took it in to mold it more to my figure, not to mold to my figure, but to mold it so it was more straight up and down the way that I wanted it to be. I don't want this tight. That's not the style of this jacket. And then that created a problem because then the band in the back was too big. So I had to create a center back seam for the back, just taking out on that back lower band what I took out at the bottom of the back bodice, and then I just matched up those two seams, and it looks like I have one long seam going straight down. So ultimately it was just a quick fix to get this to work, and I do give this pattern a big thumbs up rating. I will make it again, but I will use the recommended fabric for this pattern. I'm very happy about it. You can see right here the jacket itself at the neck stands a little bit away from the body. That can be caused by other fit issues, but on this jacket it's merely because of this fabric that I use. But overall, I'm very happy with it. I got the look that I wanted. You can see me modeling it right here, and this was also in my previous video, and it was good. A good pattern for the amount of fabric that I had, and like I said, overall I'm very pleased. All right, so hopefully you learned a little bit about creating a center back seam can also be used to mold a garment closer to your figure, and sometimes that's all you need to take a look from ho-hum to yeah, that's really good. Big thumbs up. All right, you guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to get more fitting information, I'm working on another video on a McCall's pattern. Don't ever say to me, oh, but you're thin. You don't need any pattern alterations. That couldn't be further from the truth. And you're going to find out why in my next video as I go through probably about 10 to 12 pattern alterations just to get a McCall's pattern to fit me. All right, you guys, so until the next video, take care and happy sewing.